Alrighty, and here are the Playmates Classic Collection Ninja Turtles. I meant to actually bring in my the current Playmates ones that I have as well from the 2012 cartoon as a size comparison. I forgot to grab one, but anyway, here they are, and you can see they're based. They're based on the old school turtles from the cartoon, not the original turtles from the comic, but the old cartoon from the late '80s. And they're not exactly to the cartoon. They're based on the cartoon and the original toys, and they take some of their designs from a few different sources, but mostly an homage to the old cartoon. But yeah, there they are, and then they're a little bigger than usual. So here they are with like a Voyager bulkhead. So you can see they're not tiny. Like when I found them, actually found them at TFCon. I nabbed them there, and they're bigger than you expect. They're really nice. They do each come with a little sewer manhole cover stand that they can plug into with their name, with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo and their name across the bottom. And they each come with their signature weapons. The belts can come undone. I don't know what. Now, the paint on my Raphael belt is kind of crappy and coming off, which is a bit of a shame. But that's just a quality control thing. But you can unplug them and take the belt off. Although you notice the belt doesn't actually go all the way around the shell this time. There's a belt on the shell and a belt around the turtle himself. Because the shell is articulated, they've kind of got the ab crunch growing here. The upper torso moves around the lower torso, and the shell is attached to the upper torso, which is really the best way to do it. So the shell does kind of move off their butt there, but it still stays attached, and it does so in a way that it's not super awkward. But yeah, posability-wise, they've got these ball-jointed necks, which are a little limited, just due to the way the neck's sculpted, but they can move right there. They've got the swivel hinge joint shoulders, an elbows, bicep swivel, double-jointed elbows, again, swivel hinge wrist. The thumb swivels and lifts up, which is pretty crazy. And then the fingers themselves are individually posable, as well as they're on a post and can swivel a little bit in the hand as well. So they've got, when you want them to hold their weapons, it takes a little bit of doing to get them to hold them tightly, but you can get them to hold their weapons. It's not, they don't hold them quite as tightly as if you had just like a standard hand that with unposable fingers. But oh well, it's not the end of the world, because you do get some really cool poses out of them. Then you got the torso joint, ball jointed hips, a thigh swivel, double jointed knees, a swivel. It actually is what appears to be a ball joint on the ankle, but just due to the way the ankle is built, it's limited. But you can rotate it around here as well as here, and then individually articulated toes, which I like that they gave them the toes, but it does tend to make posing or standing them without using the stands a little bit more difficult. Not a lot, because you can see I just did it. But if you get those toes out of whack, sometimes they'll like to fall back or fall forward. So there's a little bit of that. And their eyes tend to, if you don't look at them from the right angle, like Raphael's looking okay right now, but from certain angles, and he's actually probably one of the better of them. Donatello's probably the worst, but just due to the shape of their heads, their eyes tend to derp a little bit from certain angles. There's Raphael, there's Leonardo. And you can see Leonardo's doing a little bit over here on this eye. And it's hard to like really get mad at somebody, because if you look at him from there, that eye looks fine. It looks like somebody went, and when they put the dots on, since you can't really look at him directly on, I mean, I guess you could, but when you're trying to apply paint, they're probably looking at him from like putting him in the center of the eye on each side, which looks okay on each side. And in a couple of the turtle cases, like Raphael, it didn't affect it too bad, but on some of these sculpts, you can see it kind of makes Leonardo's eyes look a little cockeyed. Michelangelo. See, Michelangelo looks okay. And then there's Donatello, who really kind of just... And again, if you look at him from the side, that doesn't look bad. Look at him from that side, that doesn't look bad. It's just a matter of translating those sculpts to actual 3D and then trying to get the pupil in the center of the eyeball. I've seen some people paint these white, and I think that looks cool. I don't know if I'll do it to mine yet. I think I might paint them white and then just try to reline the pupils up to look not quite. I mean, like Leonardo's really, or not Leonardo. Well, I mean, Leonardo too, but Donatello's really the worst offender, with Leonardo being a little bit bad, but like Raphael and Mikey came out okay on that. So yeah, and they each have their individual weapons. Leonardo's got his swords back here. Donatello's got his standard bow staff, which is just a stick. And unlike the 2012 ones, they don't come with like extra weapons. What you're seeing here is what these guys come with. Now, Michelangelo does have some really nifty nunchucks with an actual chain in them. I think the chain's a little long proportionally. I may take a couple links out, but the fact that he's got an actual chain on his nunchucks is pretty cool. So I'm pretty happy about that. And you can also use these with the 2012 figure. They also fit in his little storage pack on the back of his belt as well. So if you don't like the ones that came with the 2012 Michelangelo, you can swap his nunchucks out with the Classics version if you so choose, and have that. But there they are. They're the four turtles. I think they're totally worth picking up. I like them. If you're a Ninja Turtles fan, there are far worse figures out there to pick up. Definitely worth finding if you can hunt them down. I know Amazon had them pretty cheap. I think Amazon was selling them for I think they retail for $19.99. And Amazon's had them anywhere between I think Mikey and Raph for $14, $14.90 something, and Leonardo and Donatello were $16 something. And I could be mixing up which one was that, but a couple of them were. I think the most expensive one, at least a couple weeks ago, was $16 something. And with a couple of them, a couple bucks cheaper than that. But you can find them. Like I said, I haven't seen them. Apparently, they're in Toys R Us. I have not found them at my local Toys R Us, but Toys R Us is carrying them. Target had them online, and according to their website, they're supposed to be only sold online, but I don't know if they'll ever carry them in stores. My Target's just reset, and did finally put the Transformers out, thankfully. But they just reset to put in all the new Ninja Turtles stuff, and it was just the new cartoon stuff. I didn't see any Classics Turtles on the shelf. Doesn't mean they're not coming, just means they weren't there yet. But those are places you can look. But definitely worth picking up the set of 4, or just any of the individual ones if you have an affinity for one particular turtle. But really high quality, really nice figures for the Turtles this time around. So there you go. There's the TMNT Classics Collection Turtles from Playmates.